pretty short introduction. Well, it's good to be here. I've never been in Las Vegas, but it's a pleasure to meet a lot of people again that I know from the past, and meet a lot of new people. It's an honor to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. We're going to talk about young stock signals, right? I'm going too fast. Our company, Vetvice, is providing farm support services like CowSignals, learning people how to look at cows again, right? Because what we noticed in the end of the 90s, that people were busy with expanding and didn't look at the cows anymore, right? And I think, or we think, that the basis of success is the cow, right? The cow is bringing everything which is good to us. So the slogan of the company is happy cows, happy farmers, right? So the cow comes first. Okay, my colleagues, Joep Driessen, probably you know him, showing the book to that cow, and my other colleague, Jan Hulze. Jan is writing all these nice books about cows, cow signals and hoof signals, young stock, barn design. He's writing all the ideas which we have in our group down in books, which are very practical and available for all producers, but also for advisors, feed advisors and vets. Okay, so our mission statement is that cows deserve a longer and better life, right? I'm coming back to this later because we think a bit different about farming than a lot of you here in North America do. We think that you, as farmers, producers, deserve a better income and more working pleasure because it's fun to work with cows, right? And I love, and I've already met a lot of producers here who like their cows so much as we do, because that cow is an amazing animal, and it's the only animal who's making of low plant material, high productive protein and butter fat for us, right? So knowing that, we together should always be aware that we need to earn the appreciation of milk drinkers. We call that consumers. So that's the three mission statements we have. Good. So back to the cow. What does a cow want? The cow wants a healthy, stress-free, comfortable life. And that's what we try to help people with, or try to ask questions all the time. Why are you doing things? Asking the why questions makes you wiser. So what is the goal? Is to come from two and a half productive years to 5, and maybe from 30,000 lifetime production to 50,000. And let's keep it simple. Don't make it complicated. This is what we don't like, right? This is what we don't like to see. But the tragedy of the dairy industry is that we often see too much of these things, which this cow shows. Okay, a bit about our team, Vetvice Team Holland. And the things we do is cow signals, barn design, and we help people with labor and management. That's the services we provide. 10 different trainings and books. So we can do about all these topics, a training and a workshop. And if you like to do it, we are active in 55 countries till now. So Vetvice Barn Design Academy, which I own together with a colleague, made about 1,050 plants in the last decade. 650 of the new barns were robotic barns. It was almost, well, I wrote down 97%, maybe it's even 98. So that means in Europe, because that's the main territory where we work, we're all designing robotic barns. Good. We talk about robotic milking and barn design in lectures, doing workshops, organizing tours. People come to Holland and we show them how we think robotic milking, so robotic management and barn design should fit together, right? Because it's always a combination of a management and a good design and a good barn. You can put a very good producer in a very poor barn and he will be successful. The other way around doesn't work at all. I can design the most beautiful shed, but if the guy is crap, it will never work, right? Good. We started certified barn courses in 2014, so people can come to Holland and learn about how we design barns. Actually, I think he's in the room, but I cannot see you so good as you can see me. We have a long history with cooperation with Jack Rodenberg from Canada. So the barns we design are typically barns which Jack's ideas are in as well. So we work together, and Jack is actually also selling the books of my colleague Jan Huls in North America. Good. So certified CowSignal trainers, about 300 now in the world, around 40 countries. People who came to Holland for a week learning how to do a CowSignal workshop. What is it all about? What is the cow telling us? So the goal, happy cows, happy farmers. Improve production and animal health, welfare and management, and become a better advisor, because we train a lot of feed advisors and vets as well. We do that in a training center in the middle of Holland. And what is CowSignals about? Feed, water, air, light, rest, and space. A precious diamond, the CowSignal diamond, showing the 6 freedoms of the pasture. And I was happy to talk with some guys from New Zealand and Australia in their grass-based systems, because they don't have a clue about all these things we talk about when we talk about cow comfort. It comes always to me that sort of cow comfort is a luxury product. No, it's just a basic need for a cow to stay healthy. And if she's healthy, she will bring you a lot of milk, right? So it's not luxury, it's just a basic need for a cow, for an animal. Good. So let's go back to the calves, because I was invited to talk about calf rearing. So from calf to heifer. And it's actually the take-home message of rearing calves or producing heifers is simple. Do the right things and do them always right. And that seems to be easy, but it's not. Actually, if we talk about robotic farming, you could put the same sentence on that. If you do the right things and do them always right, you will be successful. You can afford not much mistakes in a robotic system, as you cannot make a lot of mistakes in the first 3 months of a young child, of a young baby or a young calf. Don't make mistakes there, because you lose a lot of milk when that heifer is calving. Good. Ask yourself the questions, why, right? In your list, this 1.5 hour is mentioned as a workshop, so I'm going to ask you some questions, and I hope I keep you awake after this beautiful lunch, right? It's maybe a hard job, but I'm going to try it. Good. Do the right things and do them always right. Well, this is an example of do the wrong things and do them all wrong, right? This was a farm in Russia about, I don't know, 8, 9 years ago. I was invited to come there because they had a small problem with calf mortality. Yeah, it was not that bad anymore because when I came, only 50% of the calves in the first 2 weeks died. And it had been 70. So there was already very good progress, right? And then you're invited as an expert. Well, I don't call myself an expert. Standing here in between all these American big hotshots from the universities of North America, because I'm a simple vet, right? And I just look at calves and I look at what people do and I start asking questions. Well, it's just a sad story to come at a farm with 11,000 cows and a calf mortality of 50% in Russia. And then you have to tell the big boss after 4 days, you know, I cannot tell the man the truth. You know why? Because these people, it's always about people, right? If it's going wrong. These people were working there in calf barns. They had, because I was invited by the milk replacer company from Holland to come there. And if you smell that milk replacer, oh man, that is good, that is good, that is sweet, that tastes brilliant. And these women working with the calves get paid this much of money, and the children, 5, 6 children, are at home hungry. Do you know where the milk powder is going? Yeah? Isn't that simple? And all these cows were dying from hunger. They were like skeletons. Yeah? So it can be so, but can I tell that the boss? I don't know. Do the right things, do them always right. Because if you don't feed a calf, you will end up with all the misery you can think of. One thing I almost say in every lecture at the beginning, I don't want to talk about diseases with you. Most of my colleagues, most of the veterinarians I know, they want to talk about diseases. I want to talk about one thing with you, and that's about health. Yeah? And nothing else, right? Good. So about Holland, about the Netherlands, that's my country. We have 18,000 farms left, average 86 cows. 31,000 lifetime production, so that will be in North America 68,000 pounds, is it? Right? 3.5 lactations, doing 8,900, 9,000 kilograms. California, for example, have 1.9 lactations per animal. Good. What is happening for the rest in our country? The best 1% farmers, and that's funny because I like to work with the top producers all the time. The best 1%, they have an average lifetime production of 60,000 kilograms. So if the cow leaves the farm, in average, these cows have produced 60,000 kilograms of milk. Well, that makes sense to me. And we have, of course, the one and only with 46 cows who got to that 100,000 kilogram border. There are some differences because we're in North America, and most of you come from North America, and my country. We milk and breed for solids. We like the water in the canals that the tourists can row the boat and not bring the water to the factory, but the solids, right? So that's a big difference, and we get paid for solids, right? So that's a huge difference. Another difference is that if we bring a cow to the slaughterhouse, we will get 400, 500, maybe it's a really a fat cow, 600 euros. Raising a heifer or buying a heifer, but raising a heifer costs you 2,000 euros. So you have to milk that heifer or that cow for 1.5 lactation to come at the break-even point. Because then she paid herself off and then we can make money. So lifetime production is in my country very important. Or I can also put it in a different way, I think in Europe. Good. There's a third thing, and I think a lot of you are aware of that as well in other countries. The society is looking, what are we doing in the dairy industry? But you know Europe a bit, I hope. Last week, the Danish government made a rule that calves should stay with the cow for 24 hours. Oh my goodness. That is terrible. But it's a rule now. It's a law. Calves should stay 24 hours with their mother. Can you imagine? Who invented that? Was that a vet? No. That was a farmer? No, never. That was a lawyer? No, it's even worse. That were citizen people who make animals human. They humanize the way we treat animals. And that's the worst thing we can do. And then you get in a liberal country like Denmark, and I'm very afraid, because Dutch are also very liberal, that we also get that kind of shit. It's really terrible, but it happens, yeah? Okay, good. So keep our animals healthy is not only for that reason an issue, but what I told you before, I like to talk about health, because a healthy cow and a healthy calf brings you joy. The work is more enjoyable to do. It brings you production. It brings you at the end of the day, we talk about money, right? A healthy animal brings you money. Good. Okay. I was invited to talk about calves. Just a small thing about sustainable farming, because that's a word I hear a lot the last 5 years, but no one's telling me how to do it. Well, I think, don't talk about it, just do it, right? Marcel van der Steen in Steenderen, he built up a brand new barn, 4 VMS robots, automatic feeding, sand stalls. I was there last week with a group of Newfoundland. He is doing 37 kilograms of milk now. You can read the solids. Pretty good for Holland. 220 cows in milk, dry cows and a young stock, all taken care of by him and a worker for 2 days in the week. Yeah. What is robotic milking about? I think about labor efficiency. Well, this is labor efficiency, because he is doing 160 cows per person. Yeah, and that's labor efficiency. Somatic cell count is 70,000. Sand stalls. Replacement rate. Hey, that's an interesting one. I don't hear that a lot in North America, but I talk about it all the time. 12% replacement rate. Hey, that's interesting, because we were talking about calf rearing. That guy, and you can read it, only needs 24 young stock per 100 cows he has. And all his colleagues around him, or in Germany with, let's say, 35% replacement rate, they need 70 young stock per 100 cows. Well, I learned only one thing about economics, and if we talk about dairy farming, calves, heifers, and dry cows is only dead capital. You need them, but they don't bring you anything. Yeah? So, I'm Dutch. If people tell me that costs money, I want to keep as less as possible of these animals. And that's the way we do that. 12% replacement rate. And maybe you tell me, yeah, I can do that as well. And the next year it's 18%. Ha, ha, ha. No, that's 12% for the last 4 years since he started up with that ban. 12%. Great. That is sustainable farming, I think. Good. Go back to the young stock. The aim of young stock rearing, heifer rearing, for us, you can have another definition, is having a heifer who calves at 22, 23, maybe 24 months, easy, having a good weight, is resistant against infections, can handle the herd easily, is a social animal, and she stays healthy and productive for a long time, because that's what we want to achieve. We can save a lot of money. Dutch farmers can save a lot of money because the average is 26 months and a half. So 26 and a half months. Go back to 24 months is what we tell Dutch farmers. What is your average? Can I hear some numbers? What do you do with heifers? What age do they calve? 22. What do you do? 24? Is that a goal? Good, good. Because you have to set a goal for yourself. This is what I want. And if you set that goal, if you think, well, that will go itself. If you set a goal, you're gonna reach it, isn't it? Yeah, good. So if you go back in numbers, because your replacement rate is low, and you go back in months, you don't need so much work to do. You don't need to build that new heifer barn, because that capital only costs. Good. Rearing cost per kilogram of milk in relation to lifetime production. That's maybe interesting. At least I think it's interesting, because if you reach that 50,000 lifetime production, what is possible, because I know people who do it, and you calculate your rearing cost per kilogram of milk, you end up with 2.4 euro cents per kilogram of milk. Yeah? And if you do the average in Holland is 31, you typically have 3.9 euro cents per kilogram of milk, paying off your heifer, right? Funny about Europe, because, for example, Sweden is well known by a lot of people as the welfare country, but they reach a lifetime production of 21,000 in Europe. In Germany, it's 23,000. Yeah? So they end up with higher costs also for their heifer rearing. Yeah? Good. Calving age milk production at the first lactation. What is ideal? Maybe you're not so far from the ideal in our world, right? I don't know about New Zealand. The Kiwis, where are you? The Aussies, 23? Okay. Is that typical, what you do? Yeah. Yeah, right. Good. But you have your point there, because maybe it's the best thing to do. And if you talk about lifetime production, if you look at these numbers, it tells us that 23 months the lifetime production of these animals is the highest. So if you go for 22, 23, 24 months, you have the highest milk production at the beginning, and you have the highest lifetime production. So the balance is there to find. Good.
Mi scusi, buon uomo? Mi sa dire loro?
I go back because maybe you miss it now. It's about, do we understand what we see? Do we understand what we see? And are we not making our own truth? Let's do it. Let's make it easy and nice to do the work, right? This guy is an older guy. His back hurts, but he loves to take care of his babies. Yeah, you see that. One picture tells the whole story, right? He loves to take care of his calves. Yeah? What about this guy? What do you think? Does he like his calves? Does he like to take care of the babies? No, he doesn't like it at all. He doesn't organize it. And if you don't organize things right, you're never gonna like it, right? So it starts. 6 phases of a heifer life. Before birth, preparing. Prepare the calf and the mother cow in the right way. The first weeks, cuddling, taking care of that baby. Please, it's a baby. Yeah? To 6 months, protect that animal against diseases. Let it grow in the first 3 months as fast, as hard as possible. 6 months till we start inseminating the heifer. Grow. Let them grow, grow, grow. 13 to 15 months, we have to make them pregnant. And after that, they should ripen. They should not get fat. Is that a problem in your herds? That your heifers get too fat or not? Is it? Yeah? Is it a challenge to not get them fat? Is that a challenge for a lot of you? Can I see hands? For who is it a challenge not to get his heifers fat? I see small hands. Okay, maybe I have to ask a positive question, then you'll do this, right? Okay, so before birth, preparing. That's about the CowSignal diamond. Give that mother cow feed, water, rest, air, light, and space. And I was very delighted that Ken Nordlund was the previous speaker, because he taught you that there's only one thing which is important in dry cow handling or barn design for dry cows. That is bunk space. Every dry cow should have a feed place of 80 centimeters. And what's that in feet or inches or whatever you talk about? 80 centimeters. I measured, or I let a student measure cows in Holland, and we don't have that huge cows, but we have pretty high production as well. So he measured calves in a 8,000, in a 9,000, in a 10,000, 11,000, and 12,000 herds, doing about 1,000 measurements about what is the wideness, how wide is that cow in her belly when she stands at a feed fence. Yeah? No one in the world could tell me that. But I want to know that as a barn design guy, because I have to give advice to farms with 2,500 cows, putting up a shed for dry cows. Prepare the mothers good for the birth. And then I have to, oh, well, I don't know, it's 70 centimeters is enough. No, I want to know, I have to know how wide that cow is, then I can make a good shed. So every dry cow has a good stall, which is designed for her size as well. So that's typically 130, 135 wide, wider than the productive cow, of course, because that calf is also in that belly, right? If she's laying down, she's like this. She needs to have enough room. Or do we put the pregnant mother in the toilet to get to sleep? No, we put her in a nice soft bed to give birth, right? Good. Okay, so how healthy is the mother and the child? An example of a heifer who is going to calve, right? How heavy do you hurt the calf? Any cow, any calf which is helped with birth, and I don't talk about this, but any help of a cow has less chances for the calf to stay healthy in the first 3 months. So keep away from calving cows. How do you organize that? Make a stress-free calving line. Make sure your cows are totally in rest before they calve out. That's one of the things we are talking about all the time. Prevent milk fever, infection, and so on. I don't want to talk about all this shit because I've seen enough of this shit in my time I was in practice, 15 years. I don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about how we do it right. Can we help a calving cow? Do we know? Do we have the skills to do it right if it's necessary? A lot of people don't know anymore how to put a cow down. Do you know how to, who knows how to put a cow down? Who knows how to do that? How do we put a cow down? Sorry? With a rope, yeah, with a rope. Put it on, push it, pull it, and she will go down because you use the power of nature, right? You put pressure on the stomach and she will go down, right? And then you can help a cow. But how often do I see that people at a standing cow taking that calf off? That is a mess for the cow and also a mess for the calf. Don't do it. Don't do it. And if you did it in the past, think about the future, right? Why are your calves not drinking? Yeah, the calf is not drinking. Well, I have one farmer who always says to me then, if a calf is not drinking, making member of the tennis club, then they learn how to drink. Yeah? Anyhow, put that cow down. How clean is the landing platform? Does it look like this? We can expect enough shit afterwards, right? That calf is just born to be ill because all the bacteria are present. So, preparing is a very important thing. Cuddling the baby, we talked about this. Cuddling, feed, water, light, air, rest and space. Do you do the things right? And what does your calf need in the first week? What does she want? First of all, colostrum. Well, that's an old story. We heard that 10 times, maybe 20. Fast enough, as soon as possible, and so on and so on. We did a research last year looking at bacteria counts in colostrum. How clean is the colostrum farmers collect? It was a terrible research because 2/5 of the fresh colostrum samples had a bacteria count over 100,000, which when I talk with experts, they tell me that is sort of rotten. Yeah. So, and that goes in the calf. So that means 40% of the calves already get a lot of bacteria with the colostrum. And what we did also in that research is we took samples with I don't know how that thing is called, an apple core, taking samples out of the freezer of samples which were frozen in. If you have your colostrum and you freeze it in for the next calf, maybe a lot of big farms do it anyhow. Do you do that? Yeah? So you only feed frozen colostrum. Frozen at night. So we took samples of that frozen colostrum, and even 60% was rotten. And the farmer doesn't want to do that, but doesn't know that it's true, or doesn't know that it's so bad, because he's doing the same thing as Jan, my colleague, is doing now, preparing that cow, milking her. But store that colostrum clean, please. Put a cover on top of the bucket and put it in a fridge at least. Yeah? Okay, so what's happening here? Calf has been born. Okay, there you are, girl. I don't know. Yeah? Is this a good way of treating a calf? I don't think so. I don't think so. Use the power of nature. I said that, so make a calving area where you can handle the cow gut, the calf gut, and put the calf in front of the cow. This is actually what we are doing now, and we didn't know that that law in Denmark was coming because I think the company which we work now together, putting systems up like this, but then with a cuddle box to keep the calf with the cow. Can have a look if it's, well, that's the size of the, so you typically do something like this, or this, or this, to fetch the cow in a straw pen, because people are busy with that long time often, stressing the cow and the calf. This I was looking for. This is what we call this is a very simple example, but this is a sort of prototype for a cuddle or pamper pen, as we call that thing now. So that calf is born, you take that calf away as soon as possible, not 24 hours, as soon as possible you put her in that cuddle box. That cow can lick the calf. That calf is good with that, and the cow is good with that. So here's another example. Somebody who's already made this thing. Hey, that's interesting, because he can drive that calf if it stays with the cow for 2 hours, because that's maybe a good thing. And then put it in an igloo or in a hutch or whatever you use. Within 2 hours, first feeding 2 to 4 liters colostrum. Clean colostrum, beta. Yeah? How do you do that? It doesn't matter so much, but there's a lot of things available on the market which you can use, right? You can do it like this. You can do it with this thing. How do you do that? Cover the eyes of a cow. That's a trick a lot of people can learn. Cover the eyes of a cow, so blindfold the calf, then she will drink much easier and faster. And the best time to feed a calf is what? When is that calf drinking the best? When is she drinking the most and the fastest and the best? Is that 5 minutes after being born, or is that 8 hours after born? Sorry? 1 hour? Yeah, half an hour. Huh? Then that calf is drinking the best. Good. Talk about colostrum quality. Do you measure colostrum? Who's measuring colostrum? The quality of colostrum. How do you do that? Bricks. This one. Okay, who's doing that more? Who's more doing that? I cannot see you so good. Yeah? How do you do that? Bricks as well? Is that a common thing? People using other things like this one, for example? I like that you do it, but the question is, of course, if you measure it, are you going to do something else with that colostrum if it's not good? Are you going to throw it away? Do you throw it away when it's not good? Yeah? Is that true? So you have a colostrum bank, so you have enough colostrum for all your calves. You buy in colostrum. That's interesting. That's interesting. From who are you buying that in? From you. Is that the neighbor?
No, I'm the nutritionist.
Okay.
Powder colostrum.
Oh, powder colostrum. What do we think of that? I don't want to be rude with you, but it's shit. It's just nothing. It brings him nothing. If that quality of that colostrum is looking at your meter or using this or using that thing, is telling you, okay, you're at less than 19, so no good colostrum quality. It's always 19 times better than the powder you sell him. You can tell him that in the break, right? Good. We go on. Yeah? It's why? Because everything in there is dead. Yeah, I have a bit of a strange sort of, it started as a sort of hobby, taking care of goat farms in Holland. We have a lot of goat farms. If I do a tour, I always take the group to the biggest goat farm in the world. They milk about 7,500 in a carousel, in a rotary of 170 stands. They milk 2,500 goats in an hour. That's amazing to see. That's nice. People like that. Although they don't like goats, they like to see that. And in that industry, it's a trouble because goats are milked all the year round. You don't put them dry, so you don't have colostrum. So what were goat farmers typically doing in the time we started up that sort of professional service? They were buying the same power powder as you sell him. And we did a lot of research on that and finding out that it doesn't do anything. So you have low antibodies in the blood afterwards, and they get ill very easily. So my conclusion, and there's done a research at that time between the different producers of colostrum powder, and there was one who was, let's say, if this is 19, the best one came to 2, yeah, and all the rest, it was like, yeah, you can also give normal milk powder. It was nothing, right?
I would disagree. We've done paired studies
Yeah.
with the Colostrum Replacer
Yeah.
and the Colostrum on an equal IgG basis, and we had equal health, we had equal serum proteins, equal IgG levels in the blood.
Good,
So it depends on what the product is.
good.
There's some good replacers and there's some that are not. And we've had success with it, and in some cases, I'll show some data too this afternoon that will support what you're saying.
Good,
For some different reasons.
good. Again, sorry. What? Yeah. I like what is happening now, although maybe we get out of time, but it's much better that we talk together.
I'm totally in agree with you that fresh colostrum is the best, but when you have problems in herds with the PTBs or leucosis and you want to reduce that a risk when you know your cow is positive to that and you don't want to give the calves the colostrum.
Yeah.
I prefer them that they give it the powder ones
Yeah.
than none at all.
Yeah, yeah. So your question is, if you have problems with Jones disease or Jones disease or things like that, how do you do it then? Well, of course you have to find a solution there, because maybe a better opportunity can be try to cooperate with a neighbor dairy and farm and try to get colostrum there, because I think it's always better than powder. Another thing is, if we have that type of problems, we always feed the calf 1-to-1. So the colostrum from the mother goes to that calf, and of course that's management, but well, they've done quite a lot of research which tells us that yeah, you can give something else, but preventing the disease, because that is what you're asking, is not helping on that, because they can get the disease from the mother anyhow, right? So, okay. Workshop, right? So, how do we get good quality colostrum? I give you 1 minute, and you write down 6 tips for your colleagues, because you know it, how to get good quality colostrum. Just go ahead. Yeah? 1 minute to write down 6 tips to get good quality colostrum. How do we do that? So, give me 1 tip.
Dry cows period.
Sorry?
Good dry cows period.
Good dry cow period.
Yeah.
Meaning what? How long?
2 months.
2 months? Okay, good. What's your tip?
We just milk the cow as quickly as we can after she calves and put her in the robot.
You milk her as quickly as you can.
After she calves, yeah.
What is the purpose of that?
I think it helps to reset her system, lets the oxytocin in her body, and she cleans out better after.
Yeah. And if we talk, because the question was quality of colostrum, what do you do? Because you do it really perfect.
Well, then yeah, it's the thickest colostrum.
How fast is that colostrum going down in quality? After 6 hours, 6 hours after calving, you only have 82% of your antibodies concentration as he has. So he's doing about 100%, because that milk or that colostrum is not diluted. The longer you wait, the more water is added to that colostrum. Yeah?
But that's always the perfect situation. When the cow calves in the middle of the night, no one's there, and you get there at 6 a.m. or whatever, 8, then...
That would be my question.
Yeah, it's not always done perfectly.
No. So it's not always done perfectly. How big is your farm?
Milk about 180 cows.
180 cows. That's typical a difficult situation, right?
Yeah.
Because how many people do you do the work?
There's 2 or 3 of us.
2 or 3 of us.
Yeah.
And you want to sleep, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And Friday
Yeah.
nights.
And Friday night?
Yeah.
What do you do then?
We're not in the barn.
Oh, okay, you're not in the barn. He's diplomatic, right? He's not in the barn. So can you give us another tip?
Controlling bacteria counts.
Controlling?
Bacteria counts.
And how do you do that?
Clean equipment.
Clean the equipment?
Clean
yeah.
udders.
Clean the udders?
In a hurry. Pasteurize.
Good.
Storage.
How do you clean that? Because this is a very good point he has. How do you clean the equipment? Sorry?
Hot water.
Hot water?
Hot enough where you can't stick your hands in it.
And then?
And let it dry.
Let it dry. Okay, and how long is it going to be dried? Because this is interesting, I think. This is something where it goes wrong in all the dairies. We did that research. And all these farmers thought they did a good job. That was not a crap farming population. That was good farmers, right? Because the guys who always say, well, they don't do on that research. They're not in research situation. So you clean it, and how long is it going to dry?
Probably the biggest reason we have failure pasture transfer is because of high bacteria counts. It doesn't matter what the IgG levels are. So our feeling is if we introduce a lot of bacteria into the gut, the gut's normal reaction, even if they're not pathogens, are going to be to hypersecrete and move all that stuff out, which inhibits colostral uptake.
Yeah, and then you have...
So our biggest evaluation when we evaluate colostrum is always standard plate counts.
Okay, good, good. Impressive, I think. Because what I like to add to your way of working is that or you buy 2 sets of materials, so your first set is really dry and is not used for, I don't know, but I think you're from Australia?
Close.
Close. So tell me.
Where am I from?
Yeah?
Georgia.
Georgia. For a Dutch guy, pretty close, right? Good. Okay, so how many cows do you milk?
I'm a veterinarian.
You're a veterinarian. Good. So what should we advise more? I think I would add disinfection to his story, right? Okay, good. Let's go on. Let's go on. So what kind of tip do you have for us?
Good vaccination protocol.
Good vaccination protocol. Good. For what?
So you're giving the calf the right the right antibodies to the disease that's prevalent on the dairy.
Yeah, good. We agree? Yeah, good. Next one. What do you add?
I would just say keep it consistent.
And what do you mean with that?
Just the prep time, how you clean the cow, get her ready, and then just quickly get off the milk and make sure it's in the fridge. If you're, keep it clean, cover it, and
cover it. Good, good. Cover the buckets. I think that's a very good example, right? Anyone else? What do you do? What do you have to add here?
Can't think of anything else at this time.
What? Anyone else? What else can we? Yeah. Pasteurize. I hear. Who's pasteurizing colostrum? Who's doing that? Can I see hands? High. A few guys do that. Not much, but I think it's a good idea. By the way, you have to keep in mind that with pasteurizing, you're not killing all the bacteria. You bring the bacteria count lower to a level which is very low, but there are still bacteria in that colostrum. You have something to add?
One of the things was testing for mastitis at freshening.
At freshing, yeah. So when you put them dry, okay. What's the purpose of that?
Oh, I'm as far as a good quality colostrum, I'm talking about testing prior to giving that to the calf.
So preventing that
spread of bacteria.
Good. Okay. Anything else?
So is pasteurizing the colostrum, is that killing good bacteria that you would maybe want, or is it killing some of the pathogens?
It is killing the microorganisms in the colostrum. So if you want to say good or bad, it's killing the bacteria.
What does that break down the protein? IgGs?
Is there, maybe I can,
I have a slide on that later on.
yeah, maybe, you have a slide on that? Good, thanks. Because I wanted to ask, is there somebody which can you?
Yeah, there's a difference, and I think it's a...
Here.
Yeah, there's a very small difference in temperature and in pasteurization. I've got a slide on it to show it more specifically. Yeah, if you do it too hot, you wind up with cottage cheese. rather than colostrum. And so that's the real challenge that you have with pasteurizing colostrum. You've got to have good temperature control, and you have to do it at a lower temperature for a little bit longer period of time. And so I've got a neat slide on that that'll show you what that is on the little bit later on, so stay tuned.
Good. Thank you. Okay. Some tips. Milk within an hour, right? Harvest clean colostrum, we heard that. Clean straw yard, clean udder, clean cow. Milk machine buckets are clean. No stress. Nobody mentioned that. That, I think, is a very important thing. Cortisol, or stress hormones, will have a negative impact on colostrum quality. Good. Lid. Bags and buckets with lid. Cover it. Make sure that what you've harvested is the gold for the calf. Let's keep it gold, right? And colostrum is only the first milk out of that cow. The second time, I always say it's milk with a color, but it's not colostrum. Yeah? The first milk is colostrum. And there's still, I don't know, because there's so many people around the world here, is there any continent who's milking that cow empty all the time at the first milking? Do you milk the cows empty? Or do you milk a bit out of the cow? He milks them out empty. Yeah? So that's good. South America, here we come. Very good. What about Australia? Are you milking your cow empty? Or do you leave some in because you're afraid for milk fever? Is there people who still think that you can prevent milk fever by not milking the cow empty? Is that? I want to see hands. Because they are at the right place at the moment. Milk that cow empty, please. And if you have more than 10 liters of colostrum, you should start think about your fresh cow, your transition period, because your aim is to have about 4 to 8 liters of colostrum. And I know the world as well. You're never 100% successful, but the goal is important. You should put the goal on the wall. I want of my cows, I want around 8 liters of colostrum, and my heifers, I want about 4 or 5 liters of colostrum. And then you empty that cow, because if you leave, you need at least 4 liters. Yeah? If you leave the last 4 liters in that cow, do you really think you're going to help that cow with milk fever? 4 liters, how much calcium is in 1 liter colostrum? Any? It's about 5 grams. So it's 4 times 5 grams. Meaning that you think that you keep a cow of 800 kilos on her legs by saving 20 grams of calcium. Well, that's just a fairy tale. It's not working. Empty that cow and harvest that gold. It's gold for the calf. And if you harvest that gold in the right way with a disinfected bucket, then you can put it in the freezer and save it for your night calvings in your situation. Good. Direct in the fridge. We talked about that. You can pasteurize or add some kalium sorbate for disinfection, vaccination of the cows. We talked about all these things. Good. Okay. Percentage of survival, IgG, higher than 1,000 milligrams per, what is it, deciliter. Thanks, good. This is a slide from your continent. So that means we have to have high EGG levels, right? And leaving these calves with their mothers doesn't bring anything. And I think this research shows even really positive figures, but because the difference between leaving the calves with the mother or not is not so high. But what I've seen in our country is that research tells me that 64% of the calves who stay with the mother don't drink enough colostrum. Yeah. Okay. Warm it up. If you put it in the freezer, warm it up to 40 degrees. For example, in a hotel soup heater with a thermostat. Yeah? That's a possibility, and especially if you have a bigger farm, because you can do that. This is always a bit of a hassle, a difficult situation for family farms, right? And after a good meal, calves are going to sleep. After 4 liters of colostrum, sleep. How long does it take that the hunger is back again on calves? How long does that take? That she's ready for a second meal? How long do you wait to feed the second time? Yeah, what's that? How do you do that? 6 hours later. And then you use a tube or not? Natural. And how much do you give the first? Sorry? 3/4 gallon. What is that in liters? 3 liters. Okay, so that's 6 liters within the first 6 hours. That's good. And they drink that? Good. That's California, right? That's a hot climate. I get thirsty as well. A lot of people don't achieve what you achieve, right? So good. Okay. After a good meal, you sleep. Well, preparation of that cow and calf ask for standard operation procedures, right? We need to do what is right. Pasteurize, I don't know. All the products on the market available to provide, maybe this guy is drinking the colostrum himself, I don't know, but anyhow, there's a lot on the market. How do we get that calf away? Like this? It's possible. If it's near the calf barn, you can do it like this. This guy is using that mat to calve out the cow, and he pulls the calf to the calf barn on that mat. Which is the best wheelbarrow for a calf? That's clear, right? Just spend that $10 or $20 more and buy the right thing. How do you bring that calf to the calf shed? Do you do it like this? It's possible, right? Make a nice calf trolley, how do you call that? Put a lamp over it and use it to bring them away. This is China. They have their own wheelbarrow. I don't know. It's all possible. And the next step is think about bulls and heifers. Do we split them? I think most of the larger farms will do that. Do you do that? Family farms often think about it, but don't do it. I think it brings a lot. Just 1 second coming back at that 12% replacement rate. If you are able to get there in the future, that means that about 60 or 70% of your, let's make it 60% of your inseminations can be with beef bulls. Because I don't know about your countries, but in Holland, they bring a lot more money, and you have to get rid of all these calves anyhow, because rearing these calves costs you a lot of money. Yeah? So typically is what these guys do is inseminate a lot of the low end of the herd with meat bulls. Yeah? Okay, sorry. So the demands for a calf and for the farmer are different, of course, because the calf wants feed, the CowSignal diamond, clean feed, water, easy access, and so on. And the farmer wants easy work. And that sometimes is not the same, right? Feeding, give water, control, handling, cleaning, bedding, it should be all done very fast, very easy, and the best with a machine. Hutches, I don't know how many, do we like them? Ken said we go away from hutches. A hutch is, I think, a very good system, but well, I wanted to make the same joke, but Ken already did. Do you want to keep your calves or your wife, right? On family farms, that can be an issue. If you want to have hutches, by the way, we use them different than you did or do, because we keep calves individually housed for 14 days, and then they go in a group. Or even less. But my advice is when we set up a new calf ban, we keep them individually housed for 14 days, because then you have the shit period is over, the diarrhea period is over, and then you put them in group housing. Good. There's a lot of different systems depending on your demands and your, let's have, these stay a long time in the individual pens, yeah? Cover it when it's sunny. You can put them under a roof. I think what Ken Nordlund said, dryness is the key word. Let it be dry. So put a roof over it will help that. Here you see the same typical situation on a big farm in China. It's pretty well done, but it could be better, right? This is Holland. Typical situation on a family farm. No direct contact, but visual contact. That's what you want. And now we come again to that strange country, Denmark. Danish law says that was 2 years ago, no, even longer. There has to be contact between calves, individual housed calves. So you see that hole. Oh, you see that hole that the farmer has made in that. Oh, I have the same problem. In that hutch. So that's how it goes there. And then they go out and are cleaned. This is also individual housing. It can all be done. Diarrhea. Because often, if you ask, do you have problems with diarrhea? Often farmers say, no. They just look like human beings, right? That's typical what human beings do. If you ask them something which is nasty, they say, no, we don't have that problem. And then you look in the hutches and you see this, right? So we're not always honest. So what do you see here? No water? Good. What else? Sorry? Dirty bedding, right? Another calf, yeah. That rumen is empty. See that? And there's another calf. So there are 2 in that hutch. Yeah? So if you want to have diarrhea problems, do it like that. When and how and do you react? What do you recognize? What do you say, or what do you tell about diarrhea? Oh, that's nothing. All my calves have that. Huh? That's what I hear often. Ah, is that diarrhea? No. Right? So what do we do with that? Do we wait till this stage? There's only one guy who's very happy with that, and that's the vet, because he earns a lot of money. Because you have to call him to give an infusion, otherwise this calf is going to die. And to be honest with you, don't call the vet, because that calf is going to die anyway. Diarrhea. There's a lot of diarrhea bacteria present, or bacteria and like cryptosporidiose and coccidiose. They're always there. So we can try to get rid of them. You can't. We should do something about housing and the biosecurity to prevent that. What do you think about this? Does he like calf rearing, this guy? It's unbelievable. Eh? If I come at a farm and I see this, I think, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's a baby. That's a young born child, right? And you do it like this. Okay. Compare calves and see what's happening. And don't say yes, but. Eh? Just say, what is the condition of these calves and how do you take care of them? How can we help calves? For example, in a situation like this, there's a straw pack and a slatted floor where they eat. Do you see these, I don't know what it's called, that iron on top of the hay? You don't feed a lot of hay in North America, and I know why. Our hay has a much better quality, right? So we like to feed hay to calves together with concentrates. And if you do that, you need water, right? We don't eat a biscuit in the morning without a cup of tea. So if you want them to eat concentrates, they need water. Another system, fully straw. This is whole straw pens, which is possible for, if you ask me, till about 3 months. And after that, you need to have a walking alley in front of your straw pack. Every animal which is heavy is going to push through the straw pack and making the straw pack 1/3 is a swamp, 1/3 is wet, and only 1/3 is dry. And in this, let me go back, in this situation, 1/3 is slatted floor and 2/3 is dry. Yeah? So you have more space and more dry space for calves to lay. And how do we feed them? With buckets or with calf feeders? That's up to you. But you need condition on your calves. And don't argue about this. We need to have calves with condition. So you need to give your calves as much milk as they need to have that condition. And it's different in Florida or in Wisconsin at the moment, because in Florida, I don't know, it's plus 25. So you can maybe give them 6 liters 3 times or 2 times a day. In Wisconsin, maybe you need to give them 10 liters because it's minus, I don't know, Ken, how cold is it at home? Minus 15. So calves need more milk, right, to grow. Again, do we do the things wrong? And do we do all the things wrong? Then you get what you want. Give that calf concentrates, but that calf says, what is this? What is this? If I ask this farmer, he says, yeah, there's concentrates there. It's there. And then you can argue about if it's palatable or not. If you want your calves to get weaned as early as possible, you should start in the first week with adding a small amount of concentrates per calf every day. And at the end of week 2, they will eat already some of it. Because rumen development with milk only, or with milk and hay, or what we like with milk, hay, and concentrates. And if you say, well, we don't feed hay, we feed a muesli product, I'm on board. I totally agree. The thing is, you want that rumen development as soon as possible. When that calf is born, she can only digest one thing, and that's milk. And all the rest, all the enzymes who take care of the rest, the fermentation and the digestion of, let's say, products which are not milk, that calf has to learn, and that systems has to develop. Yeah? So, this calf is 8 days old.
Kalf is vandaag een week oud, 8 dagen. Gisteren ontroerend.
So that was my colleague Jan Hulze. This is his calf. He has some meat cows at home. That calf is 1 week old and she's eating. Yeah? That means when a calf is eating, she starts to develop the enzymes to digest food which is not milk, right? And that is the meaning, because that is what you want as early, as soon as possible. Yeah? Look at that calf. She's ruminating. She's ruminating, right? See that? So that's 3 weeks old. Calf of 3 weeks, ruminating. Well, maybe you tell me now, yeah, that's meat cows. Well, it is. But it's just to give you an impression how fast that goes. If you provide it. If you provide it. So, first days, always water, clean, accessible, concentrates, and in our situation, we like to feed hay, right? Group housing or group hutches, good system, can be a good system. What we typically do in Europe is feeding cows with calf feeders in systems like these. And the funny thing, which is happening now, all these calf feeders, when farmers are expanding from 120 cows, let's say 2 robots, to 3 or 4 robots, all the calf feeders go out again. Because calf feeders, in my opinion, have never brought what they should bring. Because they are maintained bad, they get dirty, and one thing, and then we can all understand, if I'm standing on this podium coughing all the time, and I'm drinking from my water, and then I say, here guys, take it, here. Do you think they're going to drink from my cup? And what do we do with a calf drinker? There's one calf having pneumonia, and she's suckling at one teat. And what are her sisters doing? They do the same. Are they going to do that? Never. And we force that calf to drink from a what is it? Teat end, which is infected. So we infect with calf drinkers. We infect all the cows. All the calves. It's just as simple as that. So people are going away from that when they grow in Holland. Good. You make up your own mind. This is about I think you're going to talk about this, because the point I want to make is every 100 grams growth you realize in the first 3 months will bring you 100 liters more as a heifer. So realize that you have to have that maximum growth in these first 3 months. And that schedule, how much milk and how much powder you put in the milk, depends on your situation. Only what I see around the whole world is that people are not feeding enough solids to their calves. Yeah. And that's a pity. That's a pity. I go on a bit faster. So weaning stress, try to prevent weaning stress by only one change per week. Leave them in the same pen, wean them from milk, go with milk down, and then no milk for a week, and then the next change, right? Not all the things together. Spread it out in 3-4 weeks, depending on the changes you want to make. Because this calf is just put in a new pen, and we suggest that they know how to drink out of that bull nipple. Well, I can assure you that a lot of calves don't know how to use that nipple, so they suffer. Stress and growth dips, another example, just a small change this farmer made, because there were stalls all the time here, 3 stalls, and what he did now, the calves from 3 months in the straw pen come now in the barn with the 3 stalls, and the first group is on a straw bed. So the only thing he took out 3 dividers, and he put a wood there and straw in there, and now they grow on. You don't get that growth dip after you bring them in the stalls, in the free stalls. So let's finish the story, because this was the most important part. I wanted to talk about the longest. To 6 months, protecting health. Health and resistance come by feeding these animals in the right way. So a lot of people talk about infections and so on, but high resistance comes by health. If animals are healthy, they have a high resistance. And they are not getting resistance because they got ill. Some people say to me, yeah, they have to build up resistance by becoming ill. Well, I don't think so. I've never seen a child grown up which was ill all the time in her youth. They always are smaller than the rest of the class, right? So illness doesn't bring any resistance. Health brings resistance. Good. Infection or infectious pressure often comes from the older cattle, right? So in a young stock barn, you have to keep in mind that especially respiratory diseases come from the older ones, and they spread around, and they go to the younger ones. Yeah, so be aware of that. Some examples of Ken Nordlund showed you a lot of these tube ventilation barns. We are doing a lot of these in Holland as well at the moment. Actually, these are photos from North America, and this is what we do in Holland. So we use them a lot. And you can do it yourself. We give the advice to farmers, and they do this themselves. They buy the van and the pipes, and they make these things themselves. Or we let them, in the case that it's a soft tube, we let them produce. Cleaning, biosecurity. That's the last part for this stage. Cleaning, work from young to old. Biosecurity starts with knowing what to do and how your infections are running over your farm. Simple things often help, because this is a family farm, and this guy had a lot of trouble, and he started just to change his shoes, and he takes on a coat before he goes to his calves. Yeah? And it's only one small thing there which prevents that everyone is walking to the calves. Sometimes it can be very simple and effective. Because every infection diminishes resistance. I talked about that before. Everything must be right. So also the ear tagging, because this calf seems to be healthy, but that ear is infected. So I think that should be done more appropriate, like this. Dehorning, same thing, right? Make sure that they are dehorned in the right way. Early treatment and isolation, disinfection if a calf is sick. Get her out immediately. Biosecurity starts with isolating sick animals. We don't do that in the dairy industry. We can learn a lot from swine farms or from poultry, because they do that all the time. Good. This is not good. This is not good. I think this comes from Wisconsin. Is that true? Anyhow, how do you recognize if a calf is not healthy anymore? It's just, this is what we should see, right? If it's like this, it's okay, and everything else is wrong. And here we should start doing something, and a lot of people wait till there. Then all the sisters are also infected, right? Again, I give you that bottle. Good. Cold climates or cold weather give them more milk. Every degree under 10 Celsius, 2% extra energy. Simple, and what to do more straw, close the door maybe, third meal at noon, thicker milk, warm water at noon, a jacket, blanket can be done. Nest scoring, that was already talked about, so I'm gonna quit this. Some examples of calf barns, all good facilities, I think. And this is what we did with microclimates before we knew about tube ventilation, positive pressure ventilation. And we tried to close everything, and the calves go ill if you close everything. So we learned from the University of Wisconsin how to do that better. This is, for example, Germany. You don't need a big shed. You can also do it like this, right? Overpressure systems. In a lot of barns, it's possible. Good. This is still possible in Germany. Put heifers on a full, how do you call that? Slatted floor, without bedding or without stalls. I don't think that's the right way to do. And you get this type of behavior, and you have to think about, if you see these things, how are these cows or these heifers behave in my new robotic barn? Well, it's not gonna be good. So don't do it like that. Good. Till 6 months, growing, grow. Put them in a healthy environment, feed them well, let them grow as fast as possible so they can be inseminated. And check if they are good. Check if they are good or not good. And if you have too much calves who are not good, you have to change your program. Not good. Skinny, big belly. How do you know we are doing okay? It's just measuring. Measure the calves, measure them, or measure them like this. Can we improve? If you do this 2-3 times a year, you find out where you can improve. Good. Condition score, always touch the animal. 3 at insemination, 3.5 around calving is what we typically do in Holland. Good. Becoming pregnant in 2 months. We want them to be pregnant all around 15, 16 months. They have to be pregnant all. Check heifers 3 times a day on heat. Make sure you find these beautiful ladies in heat. There are cows there. There are heifers there, but I cannot see them. Make sure you can see them, right? You can see the animals better. You have more growth and better heat expression. Your labor quality of doing insemination and ROR goes up as well. So when to inseminate, we say 165 centimeters breast. Yeah? Or if you say, well, that's too much hassle, you say, I put a line on the wall in my heifer ban just at 125. Yeah? And you see a heifer jump, and then you do this. Okay, well, she's bigger than the 125. She can be inseminated. Yeah? It's really easy, because if you look at, most people compare a group, oh, that's a small one, that's a big one. Yeah, but if you look at the small one, and she's already 128, she could be inseminated yesterday as well. Yeah? People tend to wait too long. Good. At 16 months, all heifers are inseminated. At 15 months, at least 80% is inseminated. Pregnant at 390 kilos. Good. Then we're finished. The only thing we can learn in this stage, if you go for robots, if that you need a heifer who is also capable to keep on going in that herd. And putting her in a robotic system will make that heifer a social structure. She has to live in that group of animals. She has to know about rank order, right? She has to learn that if there is a Texas gate, that she can push through, that she can help herself in the next area. So one experience I had with a Canadian farmer I met 10 years ago at a meeting in Holland, and he came to me and he said, well, we have always trouble with our heifers. They don't perform well, and it was much better when we were in the tie stall ban. The heifers were always better than the cows. I said, well, how do you do that? What do you do different? And I found out that in his heifer ban there was no possibility to walk around. Yeah? You need to learn these animals that they can walk around, because in a robotic system, that cow needs to walk around and go in the robot and do that all by herself, right? And what we do typically is put all kinds of gates. Yeah, for an animal, that is not the same thing as for us. If we don't learn that here is a gate she can go through, and then she comes at the machine where the candy is, yeah? She will not do that for you. So learn that animal in this stage, these things, if possible. So putting up a new young stock shed or barn, I would always design it that animals have to or can go round a a stall island, a cubicle island. Good. Then she's ready. Learning the good habits, power, guts, understanding to walk around. Knowing feed locks, if you have them in the robot ban. And I don't see any reason why not to put headlocks in a robot ban. Up to 6 or 8 robots, we always advise it. If it's going up to, I don't know, 20 or 30, you can start thinking about another system. But till there, I want headlocks. Fighting, rank order, they have to learn it all. Get used to stalls, of course. How and where to lay down. Not there. Please learn them what gates are. Yeah? Just a simple thing. 8 to 6 weeks before calving, depending on your system, check and trim hooves. Claw check, measure weight, body condition. Blood check. I would do that on a bigger farm at least 4 times a year. How is it going with minerals if you have a grazing system, liver, worms, and so on? Health check, check resistance, clipping, shaving the hair, bring them in or near the herd. Good. And claw quality is the thing in robotic bans, in robotic farming. And this heifer is showing I'm already lame. Do we all see that or not? Because she is suffering already from an infectious disease, right? On that hoof. But if there's one hoof infected, you can be sure that all the hoofs are infected. Prevention of hoof diseases starts in the young stock ban, I think. But time is an enemy of that. Good, she's ready. Rearing period ends 2 months before calving, and now we can start introducing her in the herd. So the 6 phases of a heifer life, to make an end on my story: preparing before birth, first week, cuddle that baby, take care of her, protect her till 6 months against all these pneumonia and other infectious diseases. 6 months till puberty, growing, make her pregnant, and ripen her off to get ready for the. So the tips: get your heifers not fed. Colostrum routine in the first 3 months. Away from the dairy cows in that period till 6 months. Then maximum feed, grow. Feed, floor, light, watch, line on the wall. Early insemination to get them pregnant. And ripen them, claws, and learn them the good habits of a robot ban. Well, end of my story. Thanks for your attention. Do the right things and do them always right. Good. Welcome to Holland.